We are live at the CSI Pro Arena in the Grand Ballroom of the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. CueSports International Expo features the BCA Pool League World Championships, USA Pool League National Championships, and of course the Diamond Las Vegas Open 10 ball. 128 players, double elimination, race to 7, alternate break, world standardized rules with no early 10 balls. And we've got a third round winners match for you. With Dennis Grabe and Jung-Lin Chang. Jeremy Jones in the booth, along with myself, George Teachea.
Yeah, it should be one heck of a match. And we talked about it beforehand. Two of the tallest guys out on the pro tour for American pocket billiards.
Well, Chang wins the lag. Both guys have played 2 matches. Grabe defeated Jonathan Saipthun, and then is it Chip Compton? Is it William Compton?
Yes, he did.
It
yeah,
says
he
William,
beat,
so I know it was Chip.
Yeah, he beat Chip 7-5.
7-5.
Yeah.
Won his first match 7-4, then 7-5, and then Jung-Lin Chang defeated Brian Luke 7-1, and then he actually defeated Ruslan Shinohov 7-4. But here we're off and running in this race to 7. We are sponsored by Diamond Billiard Products, Kamui, JB Cases, Omega, World Pool Billiards Association. And a couple balls down.
Yeah, he's got a pretty nice shot on the 1. The rack fairly open. Definitely some work, not only on this opening 1 ball, but gaining position on the 2, and then the 2 to the 3 could get a little tricky if just depending on where he gets the cue ball off this 1 ball. We talked about a few of players. I like to see these types that have, of course, the talent, but a couple guys that had to work through, getting to that top-ranked position in the world like they are. Didn't hit the scene running and winning big tournaments right off the get, but kind of grinded their way through and improved their game. And that's going to be a little hard, maybe. It's close. Actually, it's going to be okay, and it's going to offer a nice 2-rail angle to come out for the 3. And we talked about Cheng yesterday that, in the last few years, spending so much time in America, there's been a few people that kind of labeled him the Asian Buddy Hall as far as the cue ball. But just like Buddy Hall, when he needs to come with a shot, that's what I like seeing also. The guy can really do it. And it doesn't really matter the difficulty of the shot.
Well, he's a little more experienced. He's a 34-year-old versus Dennis is a 30-year-old, I believe. Yeah. And you can see their Fargo rates on the bottom with 821 versus 787. Anytime you're there, a race of 7, I feel either player is rather capable of winning this match.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just, and that's what it is. Chang, like I said, 34 years old, been around playing professional pool for, I've known him 10, 11, 12 years, I guess, from when I used to go overseas and play. And was always a solid player, but wasn't before the, one of the really top guys. And I respect and appreciate a guy that keeps at it and knows he's got to improve the game. A lot of guys give up on that after a while because they're not winning immediately when they get out there. But now you can see the payoff the last few years for this man.
Well, he's always at the top of the rankings. WPA rankings, he's ranked 5th in the world.
Yeah, but 8 or 10 years ago he wasn't. I'm saying he had to work his way through, kind of grind his way through improving, playing the best players in the world. It wasn't like a filler who
popped on the scene very young.
Yes,
exactly.
and then, it's just very rare that you get guys like that. Both rare, actually, that you get the commitment of a guy to stick around and take those beatings until the game improves to where he can win the major titles. And then really rare to get one like Filler that hits,
so young.
yeah, and then
so
just
young.
wins big tournaments right away.
Yeah, hits the ground running. Wow.
Even like a Federer, even though he's young and he just won the World 9-Ball Championships, he's been grinding the Pro Tour for some 3 or 4 years, improving. A great talent, of course, Federer, but a nice break and run there by Cheng to open our match. Now we'll see if Dennis Grabe can return the favor. Dennis, even more so, a guy that, had to go through that Euro Tour, improving, and now is reaping the rewards from it.
He is. I remember when I first saw him on the scene, he wasn't, with the Fargo, he was in more 750, 740 range. And he's come up considerably.
When we talk about, there's always the discussion about the tall guys versus the short guys, who has the real advantages. And I think there's pros and cons to both. But I believe if you get a tall guy that, and the ones that play at the highest level usually have really good tempo, really good swings, but they have the most effortless power just with that length.
That pendulum swing.
Yeah, it's just, anytime you add length to it, that's just math. It's going to get a little bit easier power. Great break off there. I don't know what the results are going to tell us, but he sure did hit him well.
It's going to tell us it's dry. And he's hooked behind the 3.
He may jump this and bang the 1 around, though, and that's what he's going to immediately look at, and that's much better than a rollout option. I don't think he'll play to make this, especially being stretched. Oh, he is calling it. Okay, I thought it just sat so well to knock the 1 in the face, knock it around table, and use the 3, 4, 5 as a blocker.
Right here is where his height really helps, because jumping a ball in the middle, when the cue ball's in the middle of the table, is hard for most players.
Okay, so he called it, but he was definitely playing that safety. He's a great jumper of the ball, so he doesn't miss his target by that far. Now he could do the same, try to clip what is his left side of the 1, run the cue ball 2 rails, catching the 3rd rail, maybe killing it behind the 4-5. He could go softly off the 1 and try and really get him behind the 7. Actually, I like that shot.
I like that a lot better than the other, because he goes right at that pocket, corner pocket, going the other way.
Yeah, and this is a float shot with a heavy right spin. The 1 should get up a little bit. He's chopping it the other way. Okay, not going to be what he wanted, though.
Well, looks like he's given up a shot here. And the cue ball comes up towards that 9 for the 2 ball in the corner.
And I wonder, can he put inside without hitting the 7? Yeah, he can, and get into that 8-9. Now that's a little risky. I may not worry about the 8-9 right now. One thing I was thinking about, Cheng's been in this situation a little more than Grabe the last few years as far as the TV table. But I know Grabe likes to take his time on the outer table. So I'm wondering if the shot clock maybe, like right there, he thought. Shot clock got low and he got down and shot.
Well, you could see that Chang was very aware of the shot clock. When he looked at the 1 ball, knew he had to jump, and he hurried because he didn't want to use his extension right away on the 1 ball.
Yeah, if not needed.
Yeah. So he just rushed over, got it, and took a shot.
And this is where, situational pool where, of course, he has all of it, Cheng, but he really excels, I think, as far as making decisions. I'm interested to see, because the 6 doesn't pass the 7, so he's got issues there. Of course, the 8-9 we can see tied up. Man, I don't think he'll fool with the 8-9 coming off the 5 ball. That would be pretty risky, I think.
Yep. And he wants short side position on the 6 unless he opts for the 7 combo, 6-7 combo.
Light drag stroke there. I think he's almost got perfect.
He might come into that 9 and just nibble it. I don't think he can get hurt. He hits either ball softly and he
if
stays
he goes
there.
right into the 9, he can't get hurt. But I mean,
yeah,
It's one thing if he was dressing up a real nice shot on the 6, but he's still not even dressing up much of a good shot on the 6. He, you know, if he gets over the 8, maybe going into the 9. He certainly won't go into the 9 with speed.
No, because if he goes by it, he's down too far for the 6.
Or if he flinches a little bit on it, he scratches off the 8. So I think it's a pretty calm play here, and just see what develops kind of thing. He would have loved to have gotten where he could draw off of the 6 into the 8 and 9, but
could have been what he was trying.
I think so. I think he was trying to play either a draw stroke on the 6 or maybe a hair above it where he can come one rail into the 8 and 9.
Well, he's playing with a beautiful Predator black, and it's got a little extension on the back. What is it, a 4-inch extension? They give it a little more weight, something like that.
That's got to go there, that ball.
It will. It'll pick up speed off the rail. Kind of died off the rail.
Well, he either got hooked or he got almost perfect. I think he got hooked.
Well, if you watch him for a tell, nothing. He must be a great poker player.
It looks like he's overcutting this, trying to play it underneath the 10 and run the cue ball. He just about left Dennis where he can cut at this and go into the 8 and 9, and I think he should.
I'll watch Dennis take care of that. We are sponsored by Diamond Billiard Products, Kamui, JB Cases, Omega, World Pool Billiards Association, Predator. They're providing the lights, the cloth. Wow, what a shot.
Yeah, great shot, and the 9's not doing him any favors. He's going to have to cut this in and just, I think, take a long shot on the 10. He could go with inside, but pretty steep from this angle. Meaning if it doesn't grab correctly, watch out for the scratch.
You know, a lot of times you go rail, you hit the rail just right, and it comes straight across.
I think that's a smart shot. I know he's leaving himself a tester on the 10 here in our opening game, but you want to get that shot, right? You want to get that first shot at the 10, simplifying the 9, but something that I think Dennis makes it 8+ out of 10, something like that.
Well, you know, it's funny, but it seems that both players are sponsored by Predator, and they both have the same little extension on the back of their cues. And Grabe gets his game. Chang to break the balls. Looks like Chang has that Urbane case, and Dennis has the 4x8 fly case. What do you call that?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not your equipment guy when it comes to all that.
I just know that because since they do sponsor the Predator World 10 ball, and they got a nice booth here with all the cues available, products galore, and these lights are just outstanding. Look at the reflection on the balls from the upper lights. You can see all the lights up there on top. There's 7 big new Predator LED lights. There's only one on each table on the outside, and that's plenty bright. But with these 7, this arena is really lit up.
Okay, Cheng, who had a break and run on his first break to start our match.
Nice cue ball.
And he's going to get another thin cut on the 1 that if he had position there, he doesn't back off of many shots. I don't think he'll go at this one. Wouldn't be surprised if he did, but
well, he's asking a lot going for this shot, though, because look where he has to be almost exactly where he is for the 2 ball.
And like most great players, though, he's going to consider the aggressive option first.
If he tries to come, wow.
Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't mind shooting at tough shots. And
I'm thinking about the cue ball coming off the 1. If he goes for the shot, the cue ball's coming towards that 8. As he spins away, he went for it, and he spun away. Is he going to get rewarded? He is. Look at this.
Yeah.
He's absolutely perfect. What a great shot.
And the 4 passes the 5 if he wants to go back and forth for short side position, which is probably what he'll do if the 6 isn't really a problem. If you want to go with outside here, trying to get to the short pocket for the 4, I believe you make the 2 a lot more missable. And not only that, it may not grab the English for you. You know, the high left may not grab enough for position. So he may even go with a little inside here.
Go
3 rails around the 6.
Yeah.
But he's going to take on most tough shots, especially if he can see a future in the run out. So I like the back and forth short side on the 4 myself, but
He is going with the left.
but that's what made it missable. I mean, it's just makes a very missable ball the way you're trying to throw into that object ball heavy.
Sure. Especially with speed like he just did.
Now, is the 6 in the way for the 3 rail safety? I don't think so. I think if he hits it with a mild speed and lets the 2 ball throw a little bit with left English, he gets the 2 3 rails around the 6. Oh, he didn't really take care of it. Oh, he didn't do either. Didn't plant the cue ball first off,
Yeah,
and then banged the 2 into the 6. So big mistake there.
Everything's open.
Okay, 3 rail position, flirting with the 5. He's going to go into the 3rd rail, maybe bumping the 5 a little bit.
He's going to come between the 5-9 real nice. Or underneath it. Yeah,
it would
work great.
I would have done that, bump the 5. The 5-9 was a pretty risky angle with the 10 there.
I was looking at what I thought was a natural angle there. But you're right, it's just very well done. Look how close he has that tip to that cue ball.
Yeah, pretty common thing with the pros. Okay, so just a light draw here. Should catch the 9 plenty full, not to lose the cue ball behind the 8. Tendency here is to hit it a little thick if you miss it. And he hit it great. Well, Mika Eminent advances over Aloysius Yap 7-4. Both will be back. Mika on the winner's side and into the 4th round. Aloysius on the 1-loss side. They'll both be back tonight, I believe.
Grabe is breaking the balls. Now,
What was that, George?
I was about to ask, is it Grabe or Grabe?
I was always told Grabe,
Okay.
Dennis Grabe. And he hit the first break well, but I could tell he wasn't so, you know, he didn't love the way the ball spread on the first one. They kind of came out a little slow, a little cluttery. So really wanting to make sure he gets that rack correct from Outsville. Another great match going to start here soon. The 2:30 round, a little bit behind. It's Fedor Gors, the reigning world 9-ball champion, playing Mr. Oi from Japan, who probably played as good a match on our TV table as we've seen the entire tournament. Played pretty flawless against Tyler Steyer. Well, these guys are racking their own this week, and of course, until the finals, I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that. But next week, or not too long away during a Predator World 10
Monday.
Ball, yeah, we'll have referees that doing all the racking.
Monday for the Predator World 10 ball. Well, here we go. Rack number 4. Whoa. It's round. Dry.
Yeah, and a little bit of a glancing blow on that, meaning come across the one a little bit. Still hit him pretty well, and I like the timing of the hit. Okay, so what do? And you know our man likes to go offensive. He's definitely looking offensive. He can certainly cut the one. We've seen him cut a couple already.
Yes,
super thin in just the first 3 games of the match. He's got a 5-ball over the corner that he'd like to carom off of. And I think if he caroms the 5, if he gets to the bottom rail and spins into the 5, he can kind of 2-rail bank the 1 towards the corner he's standing in right now. Oh, he's going to play the bank with some safety, I think. He called it long rail. He hit it great.
It's funny that looked like it was outside the pocket, but it slid right in.
Well, just like them other ones that you look like these great players miss, it's usually the stroke. Yeah. Really makes a difference when you're talking about enlarging the pocket. Oh, that's going to be upsetting. He's not going to be cutting that one.
He's not going to be banking that one either.
No, he should edge it, I think, and run the cue ball up. I think, anyways.
It's awful close to it, so he can edge it and get the cue ball down between the 7-8 behind the 10, huh?
Yeah, and I might just edge it over and come right behind, 1 rail behind the 7 and use the 7-4, you know, I think anyways. I mean, depends on how much he can reach it comfortably. But really try to control the object ball and don't worry about getting the cue ball to the end rail on this one. Really, I think it sets up to just go barely by the 7 like this. I think that's the correct shot. That way you know you're containing the 2 ball for sure.
Yeah, it's an effective shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's measuring the.
And that's just using a little bit of your skill, and mainly for him recognizing that, hey, if I try to go all the way to the end rail, I lose the 2 ball probably here. So where does the shot kind of connect where the cue ball is going to be good and the object ball?
Whoa, that was close. Awfully close there. A little bit of a kick shot, a little kick and stick.
And this is just straight top English. You don't really even need the right much to go. You'll hit right before the side and send the 2 ball down here somewhat below the 7 and the 10. Yeah, like that. I don't think he got there. I mean, he got there as far as a lot of the things, but he let him see the 2.
Yeah, there's a window between the 4-7.
Now, it doesn't appear the 3 is very playable. Maybe you squeeze it in. And I think we're going to see Dennis when he's at the table. I think the extension is going to be used every rack. More of a methodical player, takes his time a bit more when he has the chance. Not really in love with much here, George. I mean, there's a lot of gaps to where you could sell out the entire game here if you try to put like the 2 on the side rail and the cue ball on the side rail. That's a great shot there.
Straight up between those balls. That was a great shot.
Man, and he made that look easy, and it wasn't even close to easy. And any off on that, he probably gives up a shot.
Yeah, probably double kisses.
Yeah.
It was just so close.
He called, not sure what he called here. He called the side pocket of some sort. And, oh, I guess he's planning on kissing off the 2 going at the 3 with the cue ball, maybe? Oh, this is, I think, going to work out somewhat. No, he's going to give up a long shot on the 2, but is a 3 playable?
And for a lot of you players out there, viewers out there that are going to stick around and watch, we may not have a 4 o'clock match, but we're going to have a 5:30 match on the one-loss side, and that'll be Shane Van Boning versus the loser of Jeffrey DeLuna and David Alcaide.
Okay, so he can kind of throw this in a little bit and use the upper part of the pocket. He'll draw off the 9 a little bit. Now he needs a little speed to throw it, I think, like light speed maybe, to where is the 6-9 going to kind of get funny off this?
I don't know. It looks funny going into the 9. He could.
Oh, he didn't.
Just
barely rubbed it.
He was tighter than we thought. I mean,
better,
saw more ball.
Yeah.
Better than we thought. This just got pretty good for him. Pretty sure the 6 goes by the 9.
Nice shot. Fairly routine here after this 6 ball. He's got to pay attention to this one, though. Now you can see it pretty easy 7, 8, 9
sure.
over the side.
Pretty standard. Tie things up at 2. But it will be Chang's break. So no advantage, but you're not trailing.
No, they're on, excuse me, they're on serve.
Some of the matches that just finished from the 1 o'clock, you had James Aranas defeating Maximilian Lechner 7-5. Of course, you saw Carlo Beato and Josh Filler. Mika Immonen, as Jeremy said earlier, defeated Aloysius Yap. And Ralph Souquet defeated Corey Duell.
Oh, Ralph just keeps doing it, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. I was speaking to him earlier today, and he's a really nice guy. Just he's just pleasant as can be. He's questioning something, not sure what. Oh, you don't have to. He asked if do I have to rack the balls on the corners, the 2 and the 3.
No.
He was told no, and so he chooses to rack them in the middle. What's the advantage? Did those balls go straight up table?
Well,
they bank straight down.
I think the rule they're playing is a random rack. I don't think you're allowed to,
Oh.
Other than what the tournament tells you, which used to be the 2 and 3 on the corners, but the actual rule is a random rack. Don't think you're supposed to sequence rack in any form.
Yeah, putting him in the middle of the back row sends him up 1 rail to the corners.
Yep, that's some of the balls that are made sometimes.
Yeah.
So. Well, tough position play here unless he wants to try and go between the 4-9. If he pulls the ball, he can do it, but probably going to go too long and get behind the 8 if he pulls the ball above the 4, like where he's at now. He's just kind of eyeing it up there. And now he's looking at that coming across between the 4-9, and I think that's really the play. You could catch the 4 and scratch, but just try and go 1 rail right at that 8. I don't think the natural scratch is really available, like going 1 rail straight into the side. And he knew he had to take a chance. I'm not sure why he's getting the referee to call this hit.
Be pretty obvious.
Should be.
Is it too froze?
No, it's not. I mean, it's going to be a lighter speed, but
That's probably.
now it's froze, it looks
Yep,
like.
Sure does. Is he going behind the 3 with this cue ball?
And it looks like he may have to check it a little bit. I'm not sure. Put a hair of English maybe to make sure it doesn't spread off that first rail. But he's close enough to it, he should just be able to play it paper thin. It's pretty good,
It's
it looks
gonna leak.
like.
It's going to leak. No, it didn't. He held it.
I think maybe the jump cue here so you can come backwards with the cue ball. You'll call something here. I'm not sure exactly what. The 8's in the way to where if you bank the 2 into the 9, it may run down the rail of the 2, but
Call it in the corner pocket.
well, it's definitely going to hit the
Bank.
9. I'm trying to think what may happen here. The 4's got the side covered up cross. I think I called the 9 in the opposite corner here. It may cut it and then hit it again, the 2 ball. Main thing is trying to bring the cue ball back behind the 3.
Well, that's not quite what he wanted. He's called the 8 ball.
And this is a funny shot because he wants to hit it with little speed to open the 2 ball up to get at the 9. I mean, to get at the 3. But if you do that, you could make them both.
Exactly, and no shot on
And
the
no
3.
shot on the 3. So I think he's got to play the draw stroke because he shouldn't get snookered, right? If the 2
Right.
stands up, it
Right.
should still be okay to play from some distance. But he's
If
if
he
you
goes
play the
rail first, he likes it. If he
Yeah,
goes rail
maybe.
first on the 8, he can put the 2 ball into the 7.
I think that's the right shot there. That's what I was about to say. I mean, it's real hard not to keep the 2 over the hole if it doesn't go in, with the 7 being there. But now he's got to swing the ball underneath, maybe. This is a funny shot right here.
It looks like he can swing the ball straight down to the bottom rail and up towards the 4 for the 3 in the opposite corner.
Yeah, that's a long ways to go
It
to
is.
get behind the 4.
is.
And that's why I'm wondering, I might swing this with heavy left and to go underneath the 7 and let it really spread.
Like he just tried.
Yeah, but it's almost like he was trying to get above it. He didn't hit much draw there at all. I mean, it was a tough situation no matter, so.
Well, they are on the 30-second shot clock, and so not too much time to think about it.
Is he running the cue ball here? Oh, he's
You
playing
just
the
gotta
light
play
one.
play it light behind the 6.
Well, those
Yeah.
types of shots you got to be really good at because it's
Oh.
easy to give up a look to your opponent.
He can see it, but
Yeah, but he can
no-
follow right through on the 4, right?
yeah, he
And
can
pin him on the 4.
It looks like he can just bank it past the 4 and pin him on the 4. Yes. Done a good job of it too.
And then it should call the opposite corner here. That being the corner on your upper left part of your monitor, now your lower left part. Oh, if he's got to go at this kind of slowly with spin, hard to get safe, really needs to just try and make it. Oh, wow.
He hit it.
This is going to be froze on the end rail, too, or pretty close to it. So we're going to get to see some of that.
Shot making.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Cheng, he's so good, especially like here. He'll level out, and he'll beat that scratch that's real close.
Yeah, it's real close. I was going to say, I was about to mention the scratch.
But he just gets through the ball so well. Oh, what a
Cleanly.
great shot, yeah.
Dead center of the pocket.
And you can learn something there. He's taken on a tough shot, but he didn't play it to say, oh, let me shoot it how I like to make this ball. He shot it the correct way for position. So that just breeds confidence, and it just, you know, you get used to doing that, you're just going to become a better player just every shot you make.
I think he expects to make every shot he shoots.
Right, but I mean, once you ignore the fear of the shot and you play it correctly for position, now you're just telling yourself how much more confident you are on making it.
Sure.
So they kind of all flow hand in hand.
This to stay on break.
A little bit of a funny bridge and a hair off angle. I mean, he doesn't really want quite draw it to the side rail. Doesn't easily go to the end rail, so he'll play it 2 rails out for the side.
Each player has won his game on his break. Chang opened up with a break and run. Grabe's about to hopefully do the same.
And I feel a little better in the arena today. As far as yesterday, with all the alarming stuff going on around us, with the Rio and the CSI making sure that all the precautions are taken here. But all the news yesterday, it kind of felt like even with the players, there was a little bit of a concerned atmosphere. I'm sure there still is, but it seems like the guys are a little bit more like themselves
More
today.
settled down.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. More back to business kind of thing.
They've probably made up their mind. Okay,
And that's that rack I was talking about. It's like the balls aren't reacting to as well as Dennis is hitting them. He's not hitting them perfect every time, but you can see it's a totally different explosion out of the rack than Cheng's getting.
And his cue balls ended up in the same spot on his breaks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's bouncing over towards that side instead of straight back. So he might just be hitting it a hair off of where he wants to.
He's just going to roll out to a little jump shot here. And that's the one at this level you're not going to get back much.
No.
So surprised he didn't roll out more to the long distance rail first. Even I'm not sure if that was available actually, but well, this would be surprising if he doesn't jump this versus rail first. And these are both tall guys, so reaching that jump shot should be doable, right?
I couldn't reach that jump shot, so I thought the first thing I thought was he pushed out to the jump shot thinking he's playing a shorter player. This tall guy can reach it if he wants it. But he likes it better rail first, it looks like.
Yeah, and that may be Cheng as well. Cheng is, I've watched him play a lot in the last couple of years here in the States and very good at the rail first shot.
Yeah, he's not getting a jump cue, so he's going to take the same shot.
No, and really good at this shot. Excuse me. And the one good thing about this shot, again, at this lighter speed, it's not going to want to hang. I mean, we had one yesterday, I mentioned that did hang, but they don't want to at this. They either want to be away from the pocket, or if it gets near that pocket at this speed, it's going to want to go in. Because he's going to hit it pretty light to hold for the 2. See how it kind of just throws towards the pocket, right?
It does. And he hit it so good. Look at the position. He just.
Yeah, and watch how wide it hit on the pocket, and it still swallowed it up because that throwing it to the pocket and that light speed is just not going to want to bobble. So he kind of knew also that if he hit it a little thick, it would come up the rail and maybe get the snooker behind the 2 as well. And as a whole, unless it's just alarmingly difficult, especially at this level, I say don't try to pass them rollouts very often.
No, because you can put the cue, you can play safe, you can go for the ball, you can be aggressive.
Well, not only that, the guy in front of you, George, that just rolled out, he had a pretty good plan.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
He has a pretty good idea that he can handle what he rolled out to.
That's why I often say, when you're playing a player that is higher rated than you are, and he rolls out, keep in mind he probably has an idea of what he wants to do. So if you give it back to him, he's already He has a plan.
Yeah, this is upsetting for him. That being Cheng ended up missing position by this much on the 4-ball.
Are we? What a nice cut there.
Yeah, and he's gonna not like the result.
Oh, no,
he's okay.
He's okay.
He's still gonna have to make some shot on the 5, whether it be a cross bank or a thin cut in the side. We'll see. Because he's not playing safe. He does just. Well, I mean, he'll play safe if it's really needed, but he's trying to get out, which I love it myself. I love watching that. That's what I feel really separates not only the great players, but even the upper echelon from the other great pros. Okay, he needs a little bump. He's going to get it. And I'll tell you what he'll do here. So he doesn't have to make a funny stroke here. Oh, he's playing safe. He's calling this cross corner. He's playing a 2-way. And he's calling it just in case it goes. But
And it did.
oh, well, I thought he pointed over to call that ball.
Wow.
Well, he pointed over like.
Well, especially with a 7 so handy, why would he call it?
Yeah, he must just have been fooled that really had no chance of ever going. So big
break for Dennis.
Big moment here in this match, especially if Dennis can bury this one.
And bury it he did. Now these guys are must be sponsored by the same people. Look at their shirts. They're both Predator players. So we have, like I said, the lights.
So Grabe here in a prime position to take his first lead in the match. And actually will be breaking off in game number 8. So huge moment at the halfway point for Dennis Grabe of Estonia.
This alternate break format, when they've been exchanging each other's, they each win their break. It's big when one player scratches. If they continue the trend.
In a prime position here, and good thing about it here is the 9's so accessible up long ways with the 10 near. Don't think you got to get so prime on the 8 ball to where you have a nice angle to draw up above. You're off the rail and all that. Keep it simple, knowing you can play the 9 up long all day. That looks like what he's going to do. Now, you would have liked to have gotten a little closer to it, and that's why I may have stayed above the 8 instead of dropping down below. Now he's falling straight to where he's got to shoot the 9, maybe from a hair more distance, but shouldn't be a problem.
He checks the clock. He looked over to check the clock. Oh,
yeah, nice
that
shot.
Nice. Got real nice on the 9. He'll be able to get it off the rail a little bit if he chooses. He just hold it right there for the 10. Keep in mind, this is a winner's side match. And we're still a long way from the end of the match.
Yeah, we've got all winner side going on at this moment.
Wow, this would be big if he can successfully hold his break here like he has been. He'll take a 2-game lead.
Yeah, put a lot of pressure on Cheng.
And he'll rattle off 3 games in a row. When you're in the chair, do you think about, hey, I just lost 3 games in a row? Do you even think about the score, or you just think about the balls?
Well, I mean, I think you're fooling yourself if the score doesn't come into mind. As far as so many games in a row, might be an after-match kind of thing, really just eager to get your next opportunity. And, he really didn't leave on much of a mistake. He got kissed in on the break, so there's not much thought there. A lot of times if you're leaving on a mistake, you want to not dwell on it, but you want to address it and wonder why it happened and figure out if it's just, hey, that's just one of them things that happens once a year, or if it's a glaring problem, So, but not much thought, I don't think. Just mainly keeping his focus.
Oh, there goes that
there's
cue
that
ball,
kiss.
and there's that kiss for the corner. Yeah. And one player scratches, so does the other.
Yeah, and he's got a tough little 2 or 3 balls to get on to get this run started. He's first got to shoot a little bit of a gap between the 4-10 to get on the 2. Then he also has to get up, on the 3 ball that he's probably going to be contacting the 9 with the cue ball when he shoots it. So he's going to have to maneuver off of the 9 ball also.
Bringing the cue ball right at the 8.
Yep. Could have used a little bit more. That would have helped him a little more. Now he's definitely going to be contacting the 9 most likely. He could drop this a couple rails around the 5, going between the 4-6 all the way down to where he doesn't have to contact the 9 when he shoots the 3, but that's taking a big chance, George.
Yeah, 6 is big. Plays real big up there.
So I just go ahead and play for contacting the 9 whenever I shoot the 3, and he'll just slowly come 2 rails with inside, trying to beat the 7 and take a little bit of a shot on the 4. If he tries to get close to the 4, he could spin hard off the 2nd rail and up into the back of the 7. So if he goes lightly, he should come short of the 7-2 rails.
Okay. You don't like just pocketing the 3-ball with a little bit of low English and stopping it there off the 9?
Not me.
Okay.
I think it plays okay.
It's just a tough 4 from there. Is what I was going to say. It's just a real tough 4.
Yeah, and if the 4 went to the lower left, he may draw off of this 9. But I think just a lot of left English. Straight English is dangerous to go behind the 7 also. So you want to get it going right here. Oh, he's cueing straight. I think straight might get him in trouble. Oh, he did put the inside. He just cues with the middle of the ball. So there was a little danger there. You could see him contacting the 7, but I think he had to go that route.
You know, a lot of times when they're not sure, or players aren't sure, they'll settle for a shot, and that's why I thought just settling for the 4-ball there would be a good choice.
And this is a prime candidate for that type of thinking, that being Cheng. You know, if he needs to settle for one to ensure the run continuing, or at least giving himself a chance to continue the run, he'll do so. So this is just one rail right between the 8 and 10. I think the rails are playing a little more bouncy than the players expect. Seems like they're at times overrunning. You know, he came down to where he may have gotten into a perfect draw position, but he certainly wanted to play from above that 6-ball to guarantee easy movement of the cue ball to get to the 7. And okay.
This get a little tricky on him?
Yeah, a little bit. He can hit it with a center draw and come across, or he can hit it with a low outside and come for the side pocket 1 rail. And either's okay in this position, I think, George. Oh, he's going forward 2 rails. This is interesting here to me. Oh, he's just rolling it and take the shot. Well, there you go. You're asking for settling on one, and that was, I guess, everything to do with cueing because he was beside the 8-ball.
And then he couldn't really get around the 9 and come back over for the 8.
I thought he could draw the ball, though, but.
To the rail and back over? Yeah.
Or maybe him for the side. But
I think so. I mean, it looked like he could, but.
Watch this little subtle drag here. Nice shot. A little more than the drag that time.
Yeah. Coming down by the side pocket. Oh, he's coming over. Yeah.
Ooh.
There we go. Nice. He's going to get too close to his work. Nope. It looked like he was going to roll all the way, didn't it, at first? I thought he was going to roll all the way to the 10-ball.
Well, you don't see much from Cheng very often, but a funny shake of the head. They're like, what's going on here? And he's going to take his timeout, and that's a good timeout in my opinion.
Tied at 4. He just came back.
Yeah, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
red would apply red. Purple, purple, but I have to put an exception. You know that?
I mean, it's in contrast to the shirt color, so I guess that's something.
Well, the players are back. Mr. Grabe is in position, but it's going to be Mr. Cheng that'll be breaking the balls.
And when I think it was a good timeout. You saw him kind of shake his head on a couple of shots, like, hey, what's going on here? Probably had a nice little discussion with himself. Hey, relax. Keep doing your thing. But he has had a few position errors, meaning just uncharacteristically losing the cue ball a little bit.
Yeah, the mental side is so important, especially at this stage.
Well, unlike many other sports, there's no one out there to assist you, so
Yeah, there's.
you got to talk to yourself and talk to the table, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's very. You can compare it to a gladiator arena. You know, they both step into the arena and no one can say a word. They go to battle.
Well, you can see it's at 61-39. It's the percentage, and probably a little heavy. But you know, with Cheng breaking off first and winning the lag, it's probably not too out of line.
Well, with Fargo being what it is, I think it's 35 games, 35 to 40 games. Difference is usually a game on the wire, like in a race to 7 or 8. And being tied would give him the advantage. Give Cheng the advantage. Especially, well, it doesn't take into account the break, so. Doesn't take into account alternate break format.
A little trouble getting them frozen, I guess. Or
Keep in mind we have a 5:30 match coming up, and for those of you listening in right now, tuning in, Shane Van Boning and the loser, excuse me, of the DeLuna Al-Qaeda match, and I believe DeLuna was up a game. Not sure. Up a game and at the table. That's the best I can see.
all right,
Here we go.
satisfied now.
So they have a 30-second shot clock for the shot. Do they have a 30-second shot clock for the racking?
Well, I was going to get at that actually. That maybe there should be some type of time involved.
A lot of times they'll be racking the balls and they're not happy with the template, and then they change them.
And a dry break after all that work. And very makeable one ball for Grabe, but man, difficult position here. Trying to get through all that traffic. It really and doesn't have a lot of angle to move the cue ball, and he's near the rail with the cue ball, George.
Yeah, he can't swing it off with a draw.
Yeah, probably a safety. I might chop the 1 towards the 5, let the cue ball run 1, 2 rails, underneath the 8, back behind the 4 and the 9 and 3 and all that. I think that's pretty simple and can be a very effective safety. Now he may be playing the cue ball there and the 1 across, so it's kind of preference there, but yeah, he's playing the 1 over by the 4, 9 and all that, and the cue ball over behind the 5, and good thing, well, I don't know. I think he sold out maybe.
Yeah.
I think he sold out a combination. The one thing about Dennis, he'll take some time, right? But then whenever he decides, he kind of gets down and shoots it quickly, right? Like he kind of got over it just one stroke and kind of
made up his mind.
like it was an easy shot, right? So
Well, it looked like, it looked pretty simple to execute.
yeah, but you still take a few more strokes to get your touch down and your feeling down, right?
I agree. Those little touch shots are kind of hard to execute precisely, and as you can see, he didn't.
And we talk about it even when you're clipping a ball and you're running the cue ball safe and you're leaving a ball on the back rail. At this level, the snooker is pretty required. I mean, most of the guys are going to figure out a way to put the clamps back down on you, even if they can only see little bits of the ball. So.
Yeah, well, if you get a close-up of Cheng's Revo shaft, he has a little bit of a ferrule on there. I just noticed it right now when he got down on the ball. Plus, some of my informants have alerted me to that.
Okay, he's going to try and come backwards with this. And when you don't have the entire pocket, you tend to miss this thick. It just grabs on you a little like that. You see? Oh, but he got it down.
Now, he's got a steep cut on this.
He's so good at this, though.
Yeah, he's going to go for this.
Well, he really plays the cue ball in these shots, and he just trusts the object ball is going to get hit clean and always have enough pace to get there. So he'll come some 2 rails up and down the table, but he won't like overhit it at all.
Because I was thinking that safety is really, really, you can execute it rather well. Just stick him tight behind the 10 there, but he hits these so well that he didn't even think about it, never thought about it.
Yeah, well, the great player's aggressive nature.
Yeah, yes.
And that's really how you improve. That's how you become a great player, is with that aggressive style. That's why when you're getting somebody started in the game, when it comes to percentage plays, I totally kind of ignore that. That's not really shouldn't be a part of their thought or their mindset just yet. Let them learn how to pocket them balls.
Yeah.
Well, he wants the cue ball cleaned.
I've mentioned to you that I've been working with my nephew a little bit, and he says, "Well, show me to play 1 pocket." I says, "No, you learn to control your cue ball. You learn to make balls.
Right.
After you make about 1 million balls, or and then you learn to control that cue ball. We'll talk about 1 pocket." The shot clock's still going.
Yeah, Cheng was a little concerned, but no worries, Cheng. While the referee has a hold of the cue ball, you cannot foul with the shot clock, I promise.
Referee's got a bet on the game, walks up and says, "Oh, excuse me here, let me clean that ball for you." Oops, I'm sorry, you fouled. No, that doesn't happen. He's going to run down pretty far.
Yeah, he stunned it a little much there. And again, with the 8 so accessible, that's whenever I don't try to get to the perfect spot. The 7's very, I'm not saying he was, but I mean, maybe he was trying to push it a little too much. I mean, everything's very open. no reason to oh, let me get where I would put it with ball in hand.
Well, if he
That's not
gets,
necessary. So.
because if he got short, he'd be in much better shape than he is right now. He's still going to run the ball around.
Yeah, and we get to see a little prettier shot into the side pocket.
Look at this cue ball.
So it's alarming to Cheng, of course, that he's having a bit of issues at times, but also on the good side is knowing he's still getting it done.
He's getting it done, and he's a shot maker, like you were saying. Plays great shape, and if he has to come with a shot, he did, and he does. It will be at 5-4 on break.
Grabe is going to go for a different rack, and I do not blame him one bit.
A couple of the dry breaks.
Well, just the way they're coming out. It's the way they're coming off the rack is the concern, in my opinion. It's one thing if you bobble the balls on the side, the one goes up and hangs in the corner, the four-railer almost goes, but he's not getting our normal results that we're seeing pretty much on every table.
I always attribute that to myself when I'm breaking the balls.
Yeah,
So
but
I'm not hitting them right. What am I doing? Where's it going?
and I could say that, one time Grabe kind of hit him pretty thin, but the other ones were fairly flush. So, and you notice how quickly he racked these as well, meaning they settled more like he was, like he's thinking. So,
Well, let's watch his break closely. Little off center, maybe 4 inches to the 3 or 4 inches.
I hit him a little across the Brooklyn side, so even with a good rack, you'll miss a lot of balls that way, not only with playing 10 ball with the template, but even more so 9 ball with the template.
That one ball does go by the 8.
It's close, I believe it does. Just from Grabe, a little disgusted, of course, because of the break, but I think that one was a little more on him, George.
In the template.
I think so, because even you can see they still opened really well, even though he hit them off. So I believe the template was in a good spot there. He just came across the rack a little bit.
That's when I watch these guys play, especially when they're using the carbon fiber. I see the ease that they draw the ball with. It just generates that much more power.
Yeah, it's just a higher spin rate.
Higher spin rate, and part of it is their great stroke.
Oh, absolutely.
But
that's what I've found the advantage of the carbon fiber
Exactly.
that I've been toying with the last few weeks is, when I make my best strokes is when I'm getting the full advantage of the cue. Meaning when my timing is the best is really when the cue really exhibits what I think is its biggest attributes.
Sure, adds a little power to your shot.
Yeah, and you don't. Oh, he hit that a little thick, little quick on the backswing there. So still going to be okay, but he definitely wanted another 10 inches out of the cue ball maybe. And the reason being, there's no reason to get thin on this 4-ball with the 5 like that and all that traffic, because he'll want to kill the cue ball from here rather than run it a bunch of places. But the other distinct advantage to me in the carbon fiber is, if I go to the low outside part of the ball trying to, pull the cue ball, excuse me, or some type of shot like that, I don't have to go as far out with the tip and still get the same thing done.
Which means you're a lot more accurate with your shot.
Yeah, it should be, and it's just a better feeling when you're hitting a little more meat of the cue ball. Nice speed there. It's still been the overrun consistently for Cheng today, but this is a touchy one. He's got to float this and maybe help himself with a little kick. Oh, he's not even gonna mess with floating. He's elevating. And how can he elevate here though? I'm not sure where you're going with position if you elevate.
I think you would just follow this and play the 6 in the lower corner.
Okay, he's leveling out more now. He may contact the 8 going by. Otherwise, he's just got to simply roll it. Because he was on the path. He was on the path to go to the rail there, but if he puts more speed, he actually might go through the 5 a little bit and entertain scratching up in that corner.
Okay.
So, or even contacting off the 8 and scratching. So should come out for the 7 in the upper right-hand corner here. No reason to baby it for the side. And that's more of the speed control you're used to seeing from this 34-year-old champion. I'm just debating if you want to get straight in on the 9 or play a 2-rail angle to come back. The good thing about this is if he gets a little bit too much of an angle on this one, he can draw back just past the side and take a pretty nice little chip shot cut on the 10.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come all the way down.
No, he will now that he got nice and heavy on the 9. But
This is one of my favorite shots.
what, an easy money ball?
Yes, exactly.
I don't blame you.
Yours too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone got on the hill.
Yeah, 6-4 to Cheng, so in a great position to break the balls here and also trying to win on Grabe's break, and then if it goes hill, he'll break again at 6-6. Oi, 4-2 over Gorst.
Okorio was 6-4 over. Is it Wu?
Wu?
No, Wu's on. I can't tell if that's a. Who's Okorio playing?
It's a Vietnamese player, I believe.
Fu.
Yeah, I believe.
Wei Fu.
Yeah, I thought he was maybe Chinese, but I just glanced over there and don't know all the guys from overseas, but I've seen the man's face.
Taipei.
Oh, he's
Taiwan.
right. He is
He's
Taiwan.
Taiwanese.
Okay. Chinese Taipei. Just like the man that's about to break the balls up 6-4 here.
Well, I believe this young man here has been around a lot longer. I'm not sure. Is he in the Predator? I'm not so sure he's in the Predator 10 ball. I mean, yeah, World 10 ball.
He's made a couple on the break. He's got a little bit of a look on the 2, which is probably going to be good enough to get a good safety on Dennis. Knocking the 2 around and sticking him on the 7 most likely. He could do a little more with this if he wanted. He could try to get up behind that 3 and 8, but really not necessary. Just to keep it simple. Really nice shot there, and really with that 5, 3, and 8, I'm not sure if he has any real natural path to get at this 2 ball.
Yeah, usually you don't want to leave the object ball by a pocket, but in this particular instance, I think he can swerve that. No,
I think he's got to swerve it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take a chance at breaking up the 3 and 8.
I guess he was
and I'll
swerving
tell
to
you,
the rail. Yeah.
if he swerves it softly, he could make this, could spin this in. Like oof,
That.
Yeah.
He did a good job with that.
Yeah, and unfortunate for him, it came out. Didn't really leave the greatest offensive play. Now Cheng likes to attack, of course, and he could go thin on this 2, trying to go at the 3-8 with the cue ball, but man, that's tough.
He likes to check that time clock.
going to be upset with that. He's left a little edge here.
Yeah. And
But you
Dennis,
see how Dennis isn't taking much time here. Not saying you're going to shoot a different shot, but he certainly didn't mean to go between the 3 and 8. You know what I mean? So you got to take your time there. Even though you know you're playing the shot you're shooting, you clear your mind, you visualize the path of the cue ball, which helps the hit on the 2. So I've seen Dennis take a lot of time to pick out the shot, but then immediately get down on it. You know.
you
so.
mentioned that earlier in the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he looks at it and then gets down and shoots right away. Pretty smart shot right there.
Yeah, up 6-4, you have to secure the snooker and make your opponent go to the rail. You know, these guys do kick well, but you still, and that's just part of the game. You have to force that part of it, even though they may kick away on you. But
Yeah. Just because they can kick it doesn't mean they're going to get safe.
right.
And we've seen them miss some what looked like fairly simple kicks. Not many, but we've seen a couple.
Well, I would have lost some money on them. I know that. On a few of the 2 rail kicks that I feel like the guys practice a lot and really kind of go to in most situations. They look for that 2 rail kick because it really opens a lot of doors on separating the balls. But okay, Dennis may have to go lefty here. Okay, he can reach it. Adding a little extension here.
He's 6'5" or 6'4". I mean, he can reach them all.
Well, that pool table's pretty big when you start talking about going cross corner, meaning when you're leaning from one corner to the other caddy corner, it's usually where the stretch position comes into play.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the States would just bank this back, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
That's one of these straight backs.
Yeah, a lot of cut on that. Cue ball's going to have a lot of speed unless you want to dead slow roll the bank. I think I like just using the 4 and the 10 and soft spinning this with a lot of left English and letting the 3 just kind of leak over the 4 a little bit and cue ball come over this side rail like this. That's the shot I like right there. Now he got away from him where he hit a little thin, but you could see how much room for error he had. He wanted to hit that to where the 3 came up above the 4 a little bit, but
be straight across with those balls.
Well, and you can see if the cue ball's down here by this first diamond, how big of an area does he have with the 4 and 10 to really snooker him with the 3? So
has he got a shot here?
Maybe an edge.
He's going for a bank.
Watch out, cue ball. Okay.
Okay, he's gonna hit the 7.
And he may have given up a little bit of a rail first or a curve shot here. Now, one thing Cheng can do is he can go to the rail and overcut this to the rail, meaning kind of like a 1-pocket shot where you go rail first, you lay the 3 on the back rail, overcutting and letting the cue ball run. Now, he may be just having a straight-in shot to win.
And that's exactly what he had.
Yeah.
Cue ball's got to come up.
Yeah, caught the 3 a little thick to the pocket. Now here the 9 could be his friend a little bit, slowing the cue ball down, or it could end up snookering him some kind of way. But you got to believe he's still shooting at this cut.
He's gonna go right into that 9 ball, right?
I think he
Looks
may
like
be able
it.
to play
He
it
might be
light
able
with
to.
inside and beat the 9. I think he's going outside and going into the 9. Oh, he overcut it. He overcut it and is gonna get a well.
He got away. It was the jump shot.
Jump shot.
Oh, he's chalking that jump cue up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going to be unlucky. He may have to use it again.
De Luna and Al-Qaeda are tied at 5.
Did Dennis go ahead and win his match? Did you happen to notice?
Yes, he's up. The scorecard is 6-5, and there's no one sitting there anymore. So
Either one or they're on break.
That's
one
right.
of the two. Wow, 2 back-to-back jump shots by Grabe. Cue ball's going to fall near this rail. So still in a great position now after a couple of fine jump shots to get out here and be breaking at 6-5. Took a second look at that cue ball after it hit the 6, like he was going to overrun this and get fairly straight on the 7, but it worked out just fine.
we talked about the size of the pockets on these tables.
I'm sure they're 4 1/4, I would think. Maybe 4 1/8, but usually,
I'll go take a look at them.
actually, I'm sorry, maybe 4 1/2.
4.5, yeah.
Yeah. They'll use some tournament tables for the 4 1/4s. It just depends.
You know, I see a lot of them now. They're especially the blue labels like this one is. These are all brand new tables. They're like 4 3/8. I don't even think they make 4.5 anymore.
Oh, I thought that was the standard for Diamond was the 4 1/2. Like the Derby, I thought it was 4 1/2 maybe.
We'll check out. I'll check after this match.
But should be considerable difference from our Diamond Pro Open here versus the Predator World 10 Ball next week. Meaning the table should get broke in
Tighter.
plenty. Yeah.
A little tighter. I actually meant to do that before we got started today. I came down and said, make sure you measure the pockets, because I saw some feedback, requesting that information.
Mm-hmm.
These are brand new diamonds, so whatever standard. So Dennis needs this rack to go hill. Now his breaks have not been very successful. He's lost the last 3 games in a row after winning 2 in a row. Look at those lights up there, reflection.
And that's where he had kept going with the cue ball, is off, breaking from the right side, hitting the left side of the 1. May have gotten fortunate as far as the 2 ball is concerned, though.
Tied up against the 8 there.
Now Cheng has got ball in hand, so I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to produce the breakout. And I wonder what the 8-2 looks like. Can he shoot like a 3-ball combination on the 1-8-2? Is that silly?
Oh wow, no, that's actually it looks like it's going to catch that corner.
Well, he's looking at it.
Well, if he hits the left side of the 8 as we look at it, he should throw the 2
throw
ball
it
right in.
and
there
then
you go. Good call, Jeremy.
Yeah, and then he can roll the ball, holding the
Good
1.
call. He's going to want to hit the left side of it.
Yeah, and he'll do so mildly, and he shouldn't worry about the cue ball getting too close. Like here, you just play the cue ball a little past the head string, maybe middle of the table, but you don't want the 1 to hit a little thin, because the 8's not going to go very, very far, even if he hits that side of it, because he's not hitting it very hard. So you don't want the 1 to come 1 rail and get behind the 8.
Perfect.
Like this.
Oh, there you go.
That's why you hit it much lighter and take the longer shot on the 1. He thought the 8 was going to move a lot, but even when you're hitting it on that side, it's still not going to move a ton, unless you blast it. You know,
just hit that a little hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good call. Real good call.
Yeah, you just needed to slow roll it. But the problem is, just like when you're shooting a long shot, you instinctively want to put a little more speed on it, So He should kick and stick this, though. I mean, I know it's way out there, and he's going to call it, but I got to believe he's trying to kick and bang this ball around table and use that 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Well, you know what was great about calling that 3-ball combo was not so much seeing the combo, but recognizing that the 1 ball would bank off that rail and come back behind the 8.
Yeah, and I think he thought the 8 was going to get out of his way, you know. So, and that's natural to think that. It's just kind of, ooh, good effort there. And did he get any reward?
No.
He didn't, but
Strange
now,
shot.
I'll tell you, can he go by the 9 and get easy position on the 3? The good thing is the 5's near, so he can take a long shot on the 3 and still have easy position on the 5.
I think he's laying real nice to come up for the 3-ball.
Is he?
Yeah, it looks like
It looks
from here.
like to me he's going to the side rail with not much angle. So, yeah, he's trying to just, yeah. Oh, my. He didn't even get there.
He didn't, no.
It is, ooh, close. I think he can hit it with a level outside English and still make it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a camera angle, I believe, to look right at this, right down the throat of this shot.
Ooh, it's tight.
Not anymore. We got Dennis in the way there. Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
So, like I said, I think he can hit it with just a little flick of left English. Like, don't even worry about the 9 being there. Like you would normally aim, throwing the ball in, and it'll be fine. Definitely won't foul. It's just a matter of don't let up on it. You hit it thick. Oh, and he did catch it a little thick, but he didn't really let up on it, though.
No,
I mean,
no, he didn't.
Okay, so now from
Thin
the
cut.
what's that called? From the something to the frying pan, meaning nothing.
From the pan to the fire, or frying pan to the fire.
From the cooker to the frying pan, or I don't know. Meaning it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah.
The 5 is definitely makeable, but position to the 6 not easy. Oh, he's hoping. He's hoping.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, you shoot that kind
wall
of
of balls.
Yeah, you shoot that kind of like a shot he shot earlier in the match on the long distance 2 ball where he didn't really hit it to draw around the 7. Remember, he kind of shot the 2 and went right into the 7 with the cue ball with the 4 on the opposite end. Good thing is he's got a pretty easy safety here. Just dragging the cue ball behind the 9-10. He went 2 rails. Pretty sweet shot.
Pretty effective.
Yeah, because he's got him cut off. I don't think he can go 1 rail by the 10 or the 9. Maybe by the 9 with some soft spin. Otherwise, I think it's 2 rails at this 6 ball. Oh, he can go 1 rail. Okay. Thing is, you don't want to rip at this. You're not getting the safety anyways. You want to make a hit on the 6 and got a lot on it. So most likely we're going hill here, George.
Yeah, he made a nice safety to earn that, actually. Going between the 8-10 with the cue ball and then right back on top of the 9-10. Good view of Cheng there. Looking things over. He will have the break at Hill.
And I want to just pinch this cue ball back a little bit to draw over for the 9 in the same pocket as the 8. I wouldn't want the 1 rail angle over unless I have to play it. I'd rather have the just natural draw over angle. Because when the 8's out a long ways, you have to take a lot more of a cut on the 8 to go to the side rail and get it to come back over, right? Like this. You see how much more cut he has now on the 8, right? It's still not a problem, but I would have rather taken a little more distance and had less cut on the 8, drawing the ball over for position.
You could have backed it up just a hair
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
And then
he
come
had
right
a
over,
choice.
like you said, sure.
He had a
just
choice,
slide
I
over.
think. And this is preference thing, too, you know.
Well, this worked rather well.
Okay, so a chip-in 10 ball for Dennis Grabe of Estonia to tie it up with Jung-Lin Chang of Chinese Taipei.
Well, let's go down to one game with a 20% chance of winning the match. He's one game away. The one thing about it, though, is his opponent has the break. And his opponent started off the match with a break and run. And I do believe it's been the only one of the game, of the match. We'll have a 5:30 match for those of you watching right now, with Shane versus the loser of DeLuna and David Alcaide. And it looks like it was DeLuna that took it off. Scorecard reads 6-5, and they're both gone. Jeffrey's been playing pretty good. Didn't he take off a couple of big tournaments, or at least one of them just recently?
Well, he won a tough qualifier to get in the next week's Predator
In
World
Arlington?
10 ball.
Yeah, in Arlington, yeah.
And it's just been I think he's, you know, just like I think I talked about in the match yesterday, he's just maturing in these situations, and he's played great forever. And I think his decision making and under the lights is getting better.
Well, we talked about him last year a little bit, that he got a little, I don't want to call it reckless, but a little fast on some shots.
Yeah, and you know, to be honest with you, just you know, making a suspect decision. I don't want to say a bad one. It's just one that you don't see very often in certain situations. But he's gotten so much better, and I think it was a little bit for Jeffrey without knowing him super well, but I think he had a talk with himself that he needs to learn a little bit. You know, it's so talented, right? I mean, it's easy to say I can just win with my talent, but like most of the talented guys out here, they learn that you have to respect the game and the other players, even though they may not be quite on the level you are, I guess. So.
Well, he's made a good break. He made a ball in the break, but look at the 1-6.
Yeah, Hill, there's rarely ever a break and run out. For some reason, I've been watching it for 30 years. It always seems to be something.
Yeah, everybody wants it, but it's so hard to get.
No, he's got a 3-ball billiard he could go for. I mean,
go off the one into the 3,
yeah,
call
I mean,
it.
it's actually laying okay.
If he doesn't make it, though, it gives it up.
Oh, I understand, but I mean, he's got to roll out and maybe give it up as well, George. So I mean, and we know he's very aggressive. I mean, this one's pretty tough. Yeah, he knows this position here doesn't have to be too kind once this rollout is over with.
Well, Grabe gave him a shot earlier where he rolled out and left him that rail first shot. And
yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising,
that Grabe passed on that. Now, he doesn't want to give him much of the bottom of the cue ball. Okay, so, and another one that it'd be hard for me to pass, even though it is a little touchy. Oh, he's cutting it and going by it and trying to gain shape. I don't think that Cheng would have left that, right?
Well, I don't know. From here, I'm thinking about putting the cue ball, banking the 1 ball towards the 9 and putting the cue ball behind the 3 if possible.
Well, I'll tell you
just
though,
up there, period.
The more I look at this might be part of the safety. If he gets by the 3 coming 2 rails behind the 10, he could win from here without Cheng getting a shot. This isn't horrible. Thing is, go ahead and don't baby it. Give it a chance to go. He did. And that's a good thing.
Good
See where the
two-way
cue
shot,
ball's coming? Yeah.
Good 2. Oh.
Oh, it leaked out just enough to where he can see a piece of it.
Wow.
But I think that was a good play by Grabe. I think he gave himself a good chance to win.
Well,
he recognized the shot.
I totally agree. I mean, look at had he hung it up or left it close to the pocket, the 8 ball's got him.
Yeah. And it's another one from that angle. Unless you hit it really thick into the bottom rail, it really doesn't want to hang. If it hits the top part of that pocket at that angle where the one's coming, it kind of swallows the ball up a little bit. And the other good decision is, hey, just like you said, he passed on a rollout earlier in the match that really cost him.
Yeah, it did.
So probably didn't want to give that back to Cheng no matter what the situation was.
And he executed rather well. I thought it was tough to get around that 3-ball.
Is he kicking and trying to stick off the back rail with a heavy left spin here?
He's got the left spin on it. No,
like that?
He's got the left spin.
Oh, what a great shot.
He did it.
What a great shot. And the good thing about that shot is you see the line of the cue ball. You get a very good visual of going into that rail and how much spin you need to have to come back into that one. So the guys will hit that shot even though it looks very difficult, and it is, but they'll hit that shot pretty accurate. Boy, you sure want to call something here, don't you?
Well, I think if he goes over the 6, he can hit the full 1.
Oh, that's that 2 rail. Ooh. And again, he waited till the shot clock got way down, and then it was almost like a 1-stroke. Am I seeing things correctly, George?
Yeah,
or?
no, as soon as that beep goes off, he's firing.
He got down
and
and almost like lost the timing of the swing. He needed some spin on the ball. It looked like a flat cue ball.
Oh, that could be. You know, he had
that
a
is
shot
it.
at the match.
Cheng's probably not making a mistake from here. You can see the next 3 balls on the opposite end. The 6 leads to the 7 very easily, which leads to the 8.
You can also see the determination he's shooting with when he came to the table. Just like, oh boy, here we go. Time to go to work.
That was a little heavy. That was a little heavy to the pocket. Still shouldn't cost him, but you know, you get a little off on these. Now you could start to get a little out of line on the 6, or you may have to put a little check on the ball.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Still okay, but. Oh, nice shot. And he's perfect to where this. He has to get on the 7 to where he'll either fall forward for the 8 in the side, or he'll come across for the 8 in the same pocket. So. The thing is that here, don't get extreme on the 7 thinking you have to have that angle to get on the 8. Don't be afraid to play short side on the 8 because you don't want to get thin on the 7 where the 7's very missable. You know, if you get close to this, if you get close to the 7 and you gather that angle, like here, he's gotten pretty close to it and he did gather the angle, not very missable ball, well, you come out for the 8 in the corner. But much better to do that than try and get, oh, let me make sure I get this angle to come over, and now I get thin.
9.
Or maybe I get thin on the 7 where it becomes a missable ball.
Wow. Rushing that 1 ball.
Well, we kind of saw it all match a few times for Grabe. Waiting, and when the beeps went off, it was more or less a 1-stroke somewhat, and I think he still had his extension. I believe.
Yeah, they haven't used it this rack.
Yeah. Okay, so Cheng won't do much from there. Just pocket the 9 and hold the cue ball there and look to advance to the 4th round on the winner's side, which will be the final 16, and that'll be played tonight.
Is that 8:30?
8:30 and 10, I believe, both those rounds. Dennis Grabe, who hung tough and had a couple of mistakes, but I think he played a fine match. He'll be back on the loser's side here this afternoon. Our next round will be 5:30 here on the feature table. And
Shane and DeLuna.
yeah, thank you, George, and thank you, everyone. Y'all stay tuned.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Yes, sir.
You bet.
Bye-bye.